Yo, yo, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Hope everybody's doing very well today. I got a whole lot of stuff going on, so my apologies if my camera is a little trippy. But yeah, man, it has been quite the crazy last day or so. A couple of days, few days. Really been a crazy year altogether for us. Obviously, we have some new announcements. It's it, uh, we've got some we've got some announcements, even more, believe it or not, even more. That being said, we are going to talk about the deal and stuff today. I'm going to talk about a little bit of everything that we have going, things that are happening in the future, all of that good stuff, what it means, just because it's a lot of awesome things going down. And like I said, guys, I'm really appreciative of everybody's support. We have had a lot of folks, all walks of life, really showing a lot of love with or to us and for the company and all the cool things that we have, um, all the things we have going. And it's exciting, man. We've worked extremely hard here. Obviously, it's a collaborative effort here to get to where we're at is not a one man band situation. Stuff takes time, effort from pretty much everybody to make something like this happen. And it's all thanks to the fans and the supporters ultimately that have made this happen. And again, guys, it's just a blessing. It's a blessing. So I thank you all. You can go watch the long form, I say 10-minute video that we did. It's on Rippaverse channels, talking a little bit more about the deal. I have it pinned in the comment section as well if you want to take a look at the article that we did. It kind of goes through just the kind of basics of things and what's happening. But if you are new to what's going on, we have signed a world rights agreement with Hachette Book Group, which is part of Hachette Livre, which is one of the biggest publishers in the world. Guy, what's up, Patriot of the West says, how's your comic book going? Which ones? All of them. We're well beyond Isom now. Uh, we got plenty, but yeah. So that means that Rippaverse will be now accessible to all of the sort of major pipelines that buy books, all the trade and not just trade publishing or books like the as far as the industry. We're talking worldwide. It's not North America. It's not just North America. It is worldwide, and it's very, very exciting. It's a very, very exciting time. We have obviously a lot of work to do. Kind of this deal kicks in July, or as far as the when those stores will have access to it. They can sort of gauge right now, but it really, really, truly kicks off with everything fully green lit going into July. So I'm excited. I am stoked. I'm very happy, obviously, and yeah, man, there's just so much to talk about and so much that we have going. So I'll talk about that a bit. I'll answer and field some questions that if people have them. And yeah, man, we're just gonna kind of talk about everything there. So yeah, where do I start? By the way, does this work? It does. It does. So if I just wanted to go here, I could. Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, this was a minute, man. It was a long time in the making, and we have been approached. I'll be transparent with you guys a bit. We have been approached with similar outcomes, let's say, as far as our distribution is concerned over the last couple of years, right? We obviously Isom one put everybody kind of on our radar, and we had a couple of or put us on everybody's radar. And we had a couple of things happen in between then and now, but especially it accelerated about 2 years ago when we started getting reached out to people about and some of these bigger companies about sort of distribution and everything. And a lot of it for us doesn't make a lot of sense. It didn't make a lot of sense, especially at the time, just because it would require us to deviate or steer away from our vision and our integrity being compromised. And obviously, that was something that I would never do. And one of the awesome, awesome, awesome things about this is that we didn't have to do any of that. We didn't have to compromise our approach. We didn't have to compromise how we did things at all. It is just straight up addition. The entire thing is straight up addition. So we now, before we had our retailer portal, if you don't know, so comic shops did house Rippaverse Books. They just went through our portal. We had a retailer portal on our website. Well, now it's going well beyond just comic book shops. I think that's the important distinction to make. I'll go into a little bit of detail here in a bit. But now it goes well beyond like obviously our portal. The good news for the comic shops or people that more so shop at these comic shops is that now through their traditional channels, they can now access Rippaverse Books if they want to. So the distributors that they're used to going through and buying from, the retail stores, I'm talking about the comic shops I'm talking about, they now have access to that through the same channel. So that's was a big, when I say hiccup, I mean like a lot of shops, just to be completely honest and transparent about this, they, you had Diamond, obviously Diamond's going through a bit of a shift, and now you have some of the other, like basically it's broken up down to more like two big major distributors that are in comic book shops, or that the comic book shops are buying from, and or through that pipeline. And now they can access it through those channels, which is great. That being said, I think the most important thing to note here about what's going on with us in Hachette is that this is not a direct market deal. This goes well beyond that. And I'll explain myself here because I think a lot of people don't understand what that actually means. So most comics in North America are sold what is known as the direct market. That's what they call it. The direct market is unique to North American specialty. It's the specialty sort of ecosystem for comic books in North America. That's how they are generally bought. Again, there was Diamond. Now there's broken up into a couple of others that are basically distributing 99% of the books of individual single issues through this market. Now, in this direct market setup, basically, as far as what's important to you, go through the details of all that. It's unique in that how much the books cost for the retailers, and they're not returnable, right? So that's a big part of what direct market means. If you were alive, not me, but if you were alive through like prior to, let's say, the 70s or the 70s, around there, before like the direct market really started to take hold, that was a big issue that they had throughout the original ecosystem through like the sort of magazine format. And they solved that by going through or creating what is known as this direct market, which allows these comic specialty shops obviously easy access, but also with regards to their returns, they are getting these very high, or they're buying them for a significant amount off, and also they're for the most part non-returnable. There are some returns contracts that are negotiated, but for the most part, that's not how it works. Generally speaking, I say generally speaking because there are exceptions. Our deal with Hachette is not that. It's well beyond that. It's now going to be more accessible and through those pipelines. But you got to remember, guys, we don't release floppies other than our RippaZine and our like this concept art books that we have done in the past. Our books are in the graphic novel format. They have spines. They are bigger. That's what most of our books are released through. What this deal is with Hachette is specifically about the trade market, the book market. That is completely different from the direct market. The direct market is unique to North America and it's unique to comic shops and specialty shops. We are selling to other specialty. We will be able to be accessed by other specialty, like let's say ecosystems. But this is about the trade, right? This is about big box retailers, libraries. That's what this is more so about. That is a completely different market from the direct market, right? And I think that's a very, 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 very important distinction to make because I obviously I understand because we are a comic book company and we release issues. I think a lot of people had a tendency to say, well, they're now going to be sold quote unquote to the direct market. We already had a retail portal. This is will be beyond that scope. It's bigger in that scope, in that it's going to not only allow our books to be accessible to these bookstores and whatnot, but more so, it's going to allow us to diversify as far as our content is concerned. So we obviously are talking children's books, which is something that we have a division with now. We have novels, which we kind of kicked off with Dirty Deeds Jailbreak, all sorts of cool, fun books that we are going to be releasing, not just through Rippaverse, obviously, not just through Rippaverse. Yes, Patriot of the West, we are live on YouTube and Facebook as well. But not just for Rippaverse, also RippaSend. So the unique books that get put out through RippaSend will be over there as well. So RippaSend, you'll have access to it. If you are one of our RippaSend, let's call you clients or whatever, books that we are publishing through RippaSend. We've already done a memoir. We're doing graphic novels. We're doing comics. We're doing all that good stuff. But now we are going to really, really be able to be accessed through those channels in which those types of books are largely distributed through or accessed by. So it's a really, I cannot overstate how massive this is. It's not something that is done by everybody, okay? Like publishers, let's say. It's something that we had obviously thought long on. We wanted to have this be a unique deal, and I have to give a big, 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 big shout out to Hachette, right? Now, obviously, as far as us, our cadence kind of changed a little bit to accommodate this, but we are going to make some additional changes. I talked about Alpha Core 3. We'll have a new release date for you for that because we want to make sure that has the best chance for it to land in those stores as well. Though Alpha Core 2 is shipping now, or about to ship. Hopefully, I just did an NDA. I think I did. Well, yeah, Alpha Core is shipping. Alpha Core 2 shipping. And yeah, so we'll be changing some of these release dates, but not for most of them. Most of them are going to be other cool stuff. So it's just so much, guys. And there's a lot of stuff that I haven't announced. There's a whole lot of stuff that I haven't announced as well. And I'm really excited. I'm just really, really stoked because, like I said, this is a massive deal for us. It's great for obviously, putting more visibility on Rippaverse shared universe material, but most importantly, it's about the entirety of the company. And there's a lot of just there was a completely untapped market because you have to understand. Now we can do it in multiple, again, it's about diversification. So book buyers, we're able to meet them where they're at. That was the most important thing. We wanted to, without compromising our integrity, we wanted to make sure that we were meeting people where they're at. We have our D2C model. People can buy directly from us. We had a retailer portal and all. Obviously, that came with it had its limitations, let's call it that, because not everybody buys books in that way. So, like I said, you have the big box, you have the Amazons, you have the retailers, and most importantly, you have international. There's far more people outside of the U.S. than there are inside of the U.S. And while we had done what we had done to try to make our books more easily accessible to those guys and gals of other countries, there were still those limitations. Now those limitations are no more. Let's just say that, because those countries with their local bookstores are going to be able to access Rippaverse related material. So that's a huge deal, and not just maintaining their audience, but growing the audience, growing the fandom, and making our books more easily accessible. So it's about diversifying. And like I said in the video, the direct to customer channel doesn't change. Like, that still will continue to be ran by us. We're still shipping out of that. Our books are still going to be released through that. Obviously, you have the pre-order cards. You have obviously perks. All that stuff is still going to happen through Rippaverse.com. That doesn't change. It's just now we have an entirely untapped part of the market that we didn't have before, and they can access our books. Does that also mean translation in other language? It sets that up. It sets that up. That was a big reason, and we want to be able to, we have audiences out of. So yes, you have your UKs and your Australias and whatnot, but there's a lot of, like, well, English isn't the primary language of people that are fans of our work, and so now we're able to now we're able to put books out through those channels without having to worry about like I say, it's about like compromise. Like, that was the big thing. I didn't want to compromise, and I would have never compromised the integrity of the Rippaverse through this. Like, and that's another thing. And I guess I can go into talking about that. It's important to note that we are the publisher. Okay, that never changed. Hachette has their own imprints, where obviously it's theirs. Like that, they have several. I mean, they have a countless amount of imprints. Hachette, where they're owning and operating those individual imprints. What this is that they also have like a sector, let's call it that, or a section of their company specifically dedicated to third-party publishers, like the Rippaverse, where you basically are, because again, it's not just us. You got Yen Press, you have some of the others. Though I think Yen Press is more of a collaborative effort between the Japanese companies that own those properties, as well as Hachette. But there's other third-party publishers as well that are obviously still remaining the publishers, so they're not the imprint, or like they're not like Hachette published books. The third party is the publisher, like us. We're the publisher. So that was a very awesome thing that we were, and that was very attractive, because yeah, I've had people approach our company about buying the company, about trying to obviously maintain some sort of exclusivity with this and that, like. But Hachette was like, look, when we met at the table, it never did it come up of they wanted to change the Rippaverse. What they wanted to do was add. They were like, you're already killing it. You are already among one of the top selling independent companies. And that's another thing. I don't know what people think independent, a lot of these more indie, nationally and worldwide distributed, or let's say, when I say indie, like, that means different things to different people. For a lot of people, it means not big company, indie. But yeah, we are one of the, as far as individual sales units, one of the top selling independent graphic novel publishers in America. Like that's just a fact, you know. And they looked at it like you already have done what you have done from the direct to customer route. Now let's what we want to be able to do is be able to bring it into this pipeline and ecosystem, which accesses a completely new market while you continue to do what you were already doing great. And that is what I loved about it, because it never came up like we need to have ownership, or we need to do that. That was never even something that was conceptualized. It was all about how do we bring this into this ecosystem, right? And add to Rippaverse rather than subtracting from it. So that was why for us it was like, after doing our due diligence, it was like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. This is absolutely a no-brainer. And Hachette, it's been funny kind of watching some people having their speculations and everything about what they think is going on. And one of the bizarre, I guess the more bizarre things about this that I've seen is this idea that somehow, like, oh well, because the owner, though Rippaverse is more apolitical, because the owner is like libertarian or something, like, oh well, that creates some sort of conflict of interest. And I'm sitting here like, ha, where have let's say this: Hachette specifically, though not exclusively, has public non, let's say, progressive content. Like, I don't know where people have been for the last several years, but even with them, Simon and Schuster, same thing. Like, where do you think all of the bigger name, like, non-progressive voices have had their books published through? Like, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that. But like, specifically with Hachette, if you don't know what Hachette Nashville, or what they call it, Center Street is, all of that stuff obviously is through Hachette. So Donald Trump Jr.'s book, Newt Gingrich's books, Ben Carson's, all those books were published through Center Street. So that's one thing that I, not even going there. Let's talk about the OG libertarian of our generation, Ron Paul. Like, the In the Fed books, all that stuff was done through Hachette. So we're not doing anything new, but we're not a political company like that. Like, we've been very, very clear, and this is why we've got it from people on if you think of the American system as like this spectrum that goes left to right, which again, that's not necessarily accurate, but because we have people that are more or less progressive than other people, you've got folks like, how dare he work with someone that he disagrees with, and all this other stuff. So it's been one of those things where it's almost like Hachette's kind of similar in that case, to where they've published progressive voices, and they've published libertarian ones, and they've published conservative ones, and that's like, our philosophy is a little different in that obviously we publish whoever, it's similar there, but look, just leave it at the door. Like, for us, that's more our approach, at least from the Rippaverse side. It's like, look, we're about fun. Can you leave it at the door? Obviously, we have people that work here that are of different political philosophies, or adopt different political philosophies, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Can you leave it at the door? If the answer is yes, we'll do things. So yeah, man. It's one of those interesting things that has been like, we're not doing anything new there. We're not doing anything new there. Be a blanket ship. Please do not overstate what I just said. That's not what's happening here. That I agree that that's not necessary, but I'm more so giving context to what's going on, and what Hachette is about, more so than everything. Please do not dramatize what I just said. All right, let's get to some of these super chats, 'cause I know there's a lot of questions that had come through, and I want to get to those real quick, if you don't mind. I have to refresh my stuff. Out of curiosity, I know they're just publishing, but given the expanded markets, won't this help to expand other mediums? Well, yes. Again, guys, we have other announcements, but you are totally thinking correctly. Let's say that this opens the door for a multitude of different things. It's not just a like there was an entire untapped market that we hadn't remotely entertained because our books were not accessed through those channels. And now we have one of the biggest and the more the infrastructure, access to the infrastructure of one of the biggest publishers in the world. And that now completely changes the game for us. Completely. All right, Jathru has like a bunch of super chats I'm gonna go through in a row. He says, "What's your favorite?" Oh, wait a minute. Wait, why are they coming through like that? I don't know why they're coming through like that. Let me go through here. I think they have the fan funding now. Yeah, that's much easier. Jathru says, "Congrats on the new deal, Eric. Appreciate that." Then he says, "Our website needs Rippaverse timeline. Also needs search bar." Yeah, we have some quality of life updates that we are working on. Any advice on how to come up with unique superpowers? Man, he's asking a lot of questions at once. I can't get off to all of these at the same time. But to answer that question, research. I know the old saying is there's nothing new under the sun, but I believe there are a lot of things that have not been explored that you should give a shot. But that's going to require you to research what has been done. I think once you do that, you'll have more context of making your own stories, superpowers, unique. And yes, we do have updates coming soon. As you guys can imagine, I have been working nonstop on this deal that we've had, as well as a bunch of other things. And we will get back. I think a lot of y'all are understanding kind of that. Appreciate that, Five. Appreciate that, Five. He says, "I got my Horseman helmet in the mail today." Appreciate that. That never happened though, because that's fake news. Jathru with a 10 says Alpha Corps 1 treated like SWAT teams, jurisdiction in one city, and Yara 3 they're treated like Interpol that can arrest people in Spain. Will we get answers to why? Well, the Spain issue is addressed, is actually going to be addressed in some of the Stefania book coming up. Obviously, that was an absolute no-no there that happened. And yeah, if you read the synopsis to Stefania, Florida's finest, you will get a little more information kind of about that. But obviously, there are consequences to that whole entire deal there. Appreciate the 10. 5 says we need Chasing Ghosts #2 ASAP. We'll see what happens out of some of the stories of Saints and Sinners, is what you're referring to. Dundaris with a 51 months says heading to London tomorrow for the channel. Congrats on the recent news. Horman Helm and Golden Banana Hammock confirmed 2026 quarter 4. That is fake news. It'd be awesome if the next Rippaverse anthology had stories from Shady Do Rags, from EFAP, Shadiversity, and Star Wars Theory. Maybe. 5, also please let Chuck Dixon know it would be awesome if he did a cowboy western and set in the Rippaverse and gave a crossover with Horseman. Okay. Just got my Spengy plushie in the mail. That's also fake news. A lot of fake news here. Got Jather with a 5. So Andrew needs to be greenlit for more series. One comic title is not enough to harness the full money making potential. Zine 5 sold out because of his story. Well, yeah, Andrews obviously has Arcstream, that series, which is very, very exciting. But there's going to be some more stuff. I'm glad people are loving his work. Are there be any more Ripping the Silverback episodes? So Ripping the Silverback, and really my content in general, but it was a timing thing with Ripping the Silverback because I know you guys know that even with ads and what he's been doing, he's kind of been limiting his limited some of his streams because he's needing to focus on like doing those individual videos and everything. So that's a fun one. And I think what's going to happen with Ripping the Silverback, as and I've talked about this, is going to act more as like a pop-up show kind of thing, where it's not something that at this moment in time is able to be committed to weekly. Because I obviously have a billion things to do, as is even cutting back on some of his streaming, as I just mentioned. So it's going to act, I think, more as a like a show that, oh, it's a bunch going down. We want to, especially like with gaming, and we want to just jump on a stream and do our thing. It's just so much going on, bros. So much going on. And I'm thankful. Obviously, we're all thankful for your support, and I'm glad you guys like that show as well as the others. But it's just, there's only so much time in the day, and I'm trying to have a healthy work-life balance. The company requires a lot of me. Family requires a lot of me. And I'm just trying to not overextend myself there. And I want to be able to dedicate the time that's needed to ensure that both of those elements of my life are taken care of. Right. We have Creative Welshman says this deal gives you new insights on which characters are more popular with a wider market. New spaces have new customers, and they have different tastes in regards to storytelling. 100%. I mean, that's the big part of it. It's that you got to meet people. You heard me say that before. You got to meet people where they're at. That comes from both how you run your company as well as marketing. You got to meet people where they're at. You cannot just stay contained to your little corner if your wish and desires are to grow. I think a lot of people are complacent with where they're at, and I'm not saying that's not a bad thing, but you guys know I had big aspirations with this company. Lots. And I wanted to continue to grow. And in doing so, it means that you have to be far more considerate of your own, like just how you approach things, right? So sure, we have our market, our direct customer market, excuse me, and it's worked out very well for us, but I'm also not dumb. And I understand, like, not everybody buys their books that way. Not everybody sees books that like, when I say sees, I mean like as far as how they discover books, it's not the same way. It's different for everybody, and especially when you start talking about international audiences, like it's different for everybody. So I think one of the important things for growing companies is they have to figure out how to diversify. They're like assets, if you will, and where they're at. So this was one of those things where we have now access again to the infrastructure of a company that has been around for several decades, and they have that element just completely taken care of. So my thing is, I wanted to have more people obviously get access to our books, but I also had bigger aspirations beyond just putting out comic book after comic book, because like I said, children's books, we have obviously the RippaSend element introduces an entirely different animal, because with RippaSend, you're talking about creators that, sure, they're doing comics, they're doing graphic novels, but you have like Gary's book, which was more of a memoir and other cool things. I want to be able to have access to do all of that stuff. I don't want there to be limitations there, because not everybody's into the same thing. Not everybody reads comics, reads novels. Not everybody reads novels, reads comics. Not everybody that likes board games, and RPGs, reads comic. There's a crossover, but it doesn't mean that everybody is discovered, or rather discovering their entertainment the same way. And that's one of the biggest benefits to something like this. It's huge. It's like, I cannot overstate it. Like, this is a big deal for us. And so, yes, like, and you bring up a great point, Creative Welshman, because put that into consideration, right? Like, for example, I think Bloodruth, because of how it did post campaign, is going to be one of those types of books that has it's a hit with this specific audience, right? So you got to understand there may be opportunities there where maybe there's a completely different book. I don't know that does that performs one way with our direct to customer model, and then more so in the retail markets performs a completely different way. And that's so important, man. It's so important to understand. And that's one thing that I had to understand, right? I had to I already knew that. Obviously, I already knew that, but it's you see it in real time when you get the messages and you get the people that are reaching out to your help desk asking about stuff like that. And they're always like, I want to be able to access your books this way. And that's what a deal like this allows us to do is say, okay, we can meet you where you're at. Okay, you prefer to buy books this way. You're in another country and you wanted to get the books this way. Well, now we can do that. Estimated time on Dirty Deeds 1. So the next books are going to be we got Alpha Core 2, we got Dirty Deeds, we have The Cursed Part 1, Detention Crew, as well as the Black Eye Club. All of those are shipping. Now, if this is over the finish line, are probably shipping within the next couple of weeks. I know Alpha Core 2's you've got emails about confirmation there. So yeah. Jose, yes, that includes RippaSend books. It includes all of what we publish. That's what makes this so massive. Everything under the Rippaverse Publishing banner is included. Mark with a 5 says, my local comic shop owner told me he's unsure about this deal as he fears being made to fulfill monthly quotas in order to be able to order from them. I don't know. That's an interesting approach, and the fact that it hasn't kicked in until it doesn't kick in until July. That is an interesting assessment. Obviously, if you give them the link, they have our press contacts on for both parties if they have questions about this, and then they are going to be able to ask their reps or whoever they work with about the details there. But that's interesting there about as far as the quotas and everything are concerned. But they can reach out to our team and the team over at Hachette if they want some more information about how we do things. I don't think they'll have a problem. This is coming from Anarcho Nephilim with a 20 says, I cannot wait to sign up with you guys even more now. This is awesome news. I always wanted to see my book in shops and libraries. Yeah, it's the fact that it goes to the libraries as well is a big thing. Obviously, that's how a lot of youngsters discover material, and that's huge there. And that's what I said. Like this, you got to think well beyond just, hey, now the direct market. So the North American comic book ecosystem now has access to Rippaverse books. They had access to it before. It's going well beyond just that. They have easier access now, but it's going well beyond that. We're talking the trade or the general book market, general trade market is a completely different animal, and it's international. So it's going to be accessed by this and to see, or by us and to see our books there in those pipelines. It's a dream come true, bro. Dream come true. Dream come true, man. He's gonna talk about the fire. Say, yo, Rip, Savannah, Georgia thing. I asked if you were going to as a G&G meetup, given just it's just a day. It seems most likely you wouldn't have time to go. Probably not. Not like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be tied up probably for the rest with this deal. Probably for the remainder of the year. Excuse me. Got to get my bearings under us. We are gonna still be doing like the cons, the big ones like Bell County and stuff. But like I have to focus on this stuff. There's just so much that we have going. Larry says, what a 60 months. Wow. Love to everyone and shout out Rippaverse. Let's go. Eric, just to clarify, your speedster's actual superhero name, Arc Stream or Blue Shift. Blue Shift was just the name of the story that was in Rippazine. That's it. Arc Stream's the name of the series. Guitarded with a 10 says, congrats on the deal, Ripper. I'm spending all my free time learning how to build games in Unity so I can make my own deal with the Rippaverse someday. Okay. Respect. Is there a link to your site that shows which stores already carries your book? No, we don't have like a master list of all the shops that carry it. But that's something that we especially aren't going to be able to do now. It's just going to be too massive. What I would recommend is that if you are interested in having Rippaverse books local to you, to call your bookstores, local bookstores, comic shops, I would send them the Hachette link as well, so they can kind of know who to contact. But if they're a bookstore, they already are working with Hachette, and they should know about that. And you can tell them, hey, they now have a new third party publisher that's part of their ecosystem. You should they call Rippaverse, and I love for to be able to access their books here. And just tell them that, and they'll know exactly what to do from there. But it's also a sales and distribution deal. So also we will have reps. Hachette will have reps, obviously meeting those, having their meetings and meeting with those folks out there, and selling it as well. East Coast Toast the Boy with a 2 says, new slogan for your growth, more size, more work. Yeah, that's more accurate than more money, more problems. It's just like when you like people think for some reason that the more successful you are, like the more, I guess because they assume that definitely founder owners are just, I guess, delegating everything. And so they act like, well, the more successful you get, the less work that you do because someone else is going to be responsible for it. My experience has been the complete opposite. My experience has been the complete opposite. My experience has been the more like collaborations happen, the more big moves that we make, the more work I have to do. And that's a reason why, especially now, I think and I was pretty explicit, like content creation stuff, it's going to be impossible for me to do. I can't even keep up with like the news that's outside of my industry as well. But more importantly, it's not my job to. So I may know what's going on, but even then, that's not my job to be covering stuff. There are a lot of awesome content creators there out there that are talking about what's happening latest with other companies. That's not my business to do anymore. And the content that I create now is more in relation to the Rippaverse. So there will be Rippaverse videos. There's going to be talking about our stories, talking about general stuff, publishing stuff, business related stuff. Everybody type business in the chat, all those related things. But as far as like talking and doing like videos on the latest thing that's happening in this, and like it's just no. Those days are gone, bro. They're gone. And there should be liberation in that. I at least find liberation in it. I understand where a lot of y'all are coming from that may have come to my videos or come to my channel because of some of those types of videos, but those haven't been those haven't been, I mean, we haven't been doing those in a while, but it's especially not happening now because I don't have the time, and that's not it makes no sense for a owner of a company like this, of this size now and magnitude, to be worried about what everybody else has going. Does this deal mean all the RippaSend stuff gets put in the Hachette stores? Yes, RippaSend, as mentioned in the press release and my video, this includes RippaSend. This is not just Rippaverse related stuff. This is RippaSend. So all of our RippaSend guys and gals now have access to the same thing. So I can like tell you already, like 7 Deadly Sins by Chuck Dixon. That's gonna be in. That's already in as part of our titles that are going to be pushed and part of this whole deal. I'm not going to sit up here and tell, like, we still have our direct to customer model, but yes, the answer is yes. Norfolk EP, new backwards. Your boy needs new music. Look, perfect world. This is perfect world. I've mentioned this before. Perfect world would be Rippa, me, Eric July just creates original content. That's it. That will be me at my happiest. That will be me at my most effective and efficient. And music plays a role in that for sure. I would love to just talk shop about the publishing business, talk about Rippaverse, RippaSend, and make music. That's it. I would love that. I would love for my entire, that's just all I do. And we are creeping towards that. Will books be sold in stores be only the same? Will be on the same quality paper stuff? Yes, we are still printing it. Again, guys, like I said before, we're the publisher still. Like this is not a. I think a lot of that confusion comes from because Hachette Livre has all of these like imprints and other things, and the shit has all the imprints and books that they themselves are publishing. We are still the publisher. This is a third party publisher deal. So we're still the publisher. So all that stuff we still handle. So yes, it will be of the same quality that you have come to expect. That being said, this benefits all customers because our volume is going to increase. So going from, let's say, an average of like when it's all said and done, getting 10,000 books printed initially or whatever. It depends on what the book is, but that's on average kind of where we're floating between or where we were. Like a book we buy, and we consider obviously all the pre-order sales plus the post collection sales before. And so we would get enough prints to kind of accommodate that, right? And now that volume increases, which means the price per unit comes down, which means I push savings off on the customer. You guys know that. It's one of the things that I know other business owners call me fucking crazy for, because everybody else's costs go up and our costs come down the more successful we get. That's just what I believe in. I understand that that's not gonna always work. I understand that just because you make your stuff cheaper does not mean that people are gonna buy it. But I am a guy that believes in, if you can push the savings off on your customers, to do that. That's just me. I'm not telling people what to do with their company. I'm just telling you that's just how I have. That's been my philosophy at the Rippaverse, which is why we've always tried to, get our books to come down. And now we have these like retailer copies or these mass print copies, as we call them, which will also be part of this pipeline, that are cheaper than like the others. That's our way of kind of trying to balance that, right? You have the affordable copy, and then you have the others. So that's just me. That's just me. That's just me and how I do things. I'm not telling that, hey, you need to do what I do. I'm just saying that that's just how I approach things. So the good news about this, because those what do you call them? I guess quantities are going to go up. That means that we can get that price per unit down, which actually means that, especially with those mass prints, I think we're going to be able to make those even more competitive than what they have before. but I do not want to go towards like, lowering look, there's always a balance, right? And this is perspective also that we get from Hachette as well, which I love them for. We've already had our meetings talking about this type of stuff. What does the market say? What are they dictating? What are they willing to spend? And it's that balance of, you want to maximize that. But you also have to understand that not everybody is considerate of like that unless you are transparent. I've mentioned this, I think, in one of my last streams. MJW Truth says in the chat over on Twitch, says, "Yo, Rip at 7 a.m. I see you're officially on a dad schedule." Man, tell me about it, bro. What's up? Good to see you. But yeah, what was I saying? Completely lost my train of thought because I thought that was funny. But as far as the costs are concerned, we have our discussions with Hachette. They are able to give us perspective of what they see, what the market is dictating, what the market is saying, and we get to go back to the drawing table and say, okay, we need to price our books as this. We need to price our books like that. That's the thing that we're able to do. That again, we have perspective that we just never had before. You have an idea. But transparency is also one of those things that I've talked to them about this, that we benefit from. People are willing to spend more if they understand that. But I think a lot of people did themselves in, not just publishers, a lot of folks do themselves in by having these higher price things, but not explaining why your stuff is higher priced, right? Because it's not for the customers to even know or understand that. So when they see my book next to, let's say, someone else's, or Rippaverse books versus someone else's, I'm always contextualizing that. Rippaverse is always contextualizing that. And what I mean by that is when someone's like, "Oh, I can go get a $5 comic from the comic shop right now. Your book is 15 to 18 for your book." Okay, right? So if I'm not explaining, or Rippaverse isn't constantly explaining, I know we repeat ourselves a lot. If the Rippaverse isn't constantly explaining why that's the case, then they have no frame of reference. So we have to explain, well, those are 20 to 24 page floppies. Our books our floor is 56, right? Our floor is more than double of what the average $5, let's say, comic is going to cost. Our books have spines. Our books have, which means the cover stock is different from like a floppy. So it's not the same where the interior is the same as the cover. We don't do that. Like, we have actual different type of cover stock from our paper stock, or even the paper stock is 2 pounds above. We have to explain all that stuff, right? Which explains why exactly, the price is the way that it is. You have to be able to explain that. That being said, we've come down on our pricing before, and now with this opportunity, we have an ability to basically reanalyze what we have been charging, especially for those cover Ds, and that's huge, because again, we know we have more market perspective, and number two, the quantity is naturally going to increase. It's going to increase. So, that allows us to kind of look at this. So only cover D mass print option going through a Hachette pipeline. I would say for now, expect that, yes. Look, anything can change, but for right now, it's about that reader copy. That's what we're starting out with. Reader copies, things of that nature. Collected editions is a little different, right? We may put our hardcover and soft cover will be in those markets for sure. But for like the actual individual like series and stuff, it's more about that reader copy. Remember back in the 2000s when there was literally a $20 video game being wild because they were tiny developers with limited budget and they priced things accordingly. Now, well, it's the market says 60, so it's 60. Yeah, it's the dynamic pricing, right? It's something that I think you see a lot more in publishing books than you do in video games, unless you're talking like maybe like Steam, but especially like with some of these video games, like those markets are it's they get a little more like, oh, well, we have to price the book in this price. Whereas at least with book publishing, it's a lot more dynamic. People are a lot more like, hey, the book costs this way for this reason. Will Hachette print their own Rippaverse books for international? No, we are the publisher. We are the ones responsible for getting the prints to them. So still, even in the international market, it will still be us. Balmung with a 5 says, any word on new merch for me? I'd like to see some new short boxes and new document card deck or two. Yeah, obviously Will Conrad's working on some things. We announced that he is the artist on the Exclave series. So yeah, but we will get to that. So if the cover D is going through a shed pipeline, I guess the best non-foil cover option will be mass print. What it will be, whatever we decide. Again, that's on us to decide what that cover is going to be. Whatever that mass print cover is going to be. None of that changes. Will you be doing a definitive alpha core? Yes. We'll be doing definitive for a lot of our stuff. Definitive Blood Ruth, all that stuff. Garfield Bizarre Venture with a Foster's congrats on the success. Ripper, stand focused on your business and out of silly YouTube drama was the right decision. Keep moving forward. Yeah, it was the best decision. You know, I had a kind of reality check there from people that I cared about, the customers, on what I needed to be focused on. And I made a commitment a couple of years back to say, you know what? I am putting my focus into the business, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to worry about all the other silly stuff. And yeah, it pays dividends. That's for sure. That's for sure. What's up, Drunk 3PO in the chat? Says Camera Cross will win. But yeah, shout out. There will be more Camera Cross. But yeah, so it's and that wasn't easy to do, man, because you had to understand during that window of time, and I was doing video. I did a show every day. I did to the videos every day. I was doing 3 videos a day, doing the show, streaming sometimes twice a day, depending on what day it was. And the transition from that to responsible business owner, let's say that that wasn't easy. A lot of bad habits that needed to get broke. And I stayed with it, prayed, and I am very, very thankful. And I told y'all this before. I told y'all this before. I have benefited so much as a man from just being a better professional. And I can't quite put that into words. But obviously the company benefited greatly from that as well. One of the humbling things about the marketplace that I kind of realized is that if as long as you are, and I'm gonna say, excuse my language here, but I don't know what other way to explain this or express it. As long as you aren't a dick, people are willing to work with you. Yes, there is still bias. There's still going to be that. But if you are talented, if you are you've got your stuff together, you're running a legitimate, like, good business that does well for itself. If you're not a dick, opportunities are going to come your way. You can have, let's say, differing positions on certain things, and you can still have that upward mobility as long as you are someone that people feel like they can approach with business. And so when folks started reaching out to me a couple of years ago, businesses, big businesses, a lot of it was, well, this guy's on his stuff. I gave great first impressions. The business spoke for itself. The business already spoke for itself. But I was approachable, professional. I knew what I was talking about. That's a big, important thing. I think that because the independent scenes have a tendency to focus on creative and creative alone, they think that everything else just doesn't matter, unfortunately, or doesn't matter as much. And that's such a detriment, because there's a lot of talented people that would be in much better places if they weren't dicks, number one, but took their business seriously, like as serious as they took the creative stuff. What I mean by that is, if you, I'll say this. One of the things that these businesses would always ask me when they would come up to, like, approach Rippaverse, they were always looking at, like, okay, you guys had published how many books, and Tom, how did you do that? Oh wow, so you got your own distribution channel that you've been doing things through. And they were always so curious about that. Like, how were you able to do that? And when I would tell them, like, no, we didn't do our distribution through other like a third party company. We were handling all of this. So they're like, wait a minute. So you guys are running, you're handling, you got your logistics down, and you're doing it at this volume. That was a big deal for a lot of people that had reached out to us, right? Because they knew that, okay, it's telling, even if they weren't necessarily interested in that part of the business. What it told them was that we are a professional, legitimate, independent company that figured out how to do something at scale consistently. People want to work with folks like that. And so one of the things that benefited me, obviously, from just being a better professional was that it was easy for me to kind of show people that I was approachable. People were like, you're on your stuff. What do you think about X, Y, and Z? And not everything made sense. I told y'all this. Like, I've turned down more money than I made, because not everything makes sense for us. But the opportunities came because I became a better professional. The sales speak for themselves. Like, again, like that that helps. Don't make no mistake. But more so in the other markets. How do I explain this? Like, it sometimes you've heard the term, if you've done sports, right? Well, it's something along the lines like talent beats, or like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And it's a similar thing pretty much in business, where you can have the best and brightest ideas, you can have this creative mindset, but if you can't execute and you can't bring it to life and you can't take care of the other aspects of it, you'll lose. And there's going to be someone that may not be, at least according to you, perhaps more talented, but they took care of the other aspects, and so people wanted to work with them. And so they had these other opportunities that come, even if they didn't have the other things. It's one of those things that I think a lot of people sleep on. Independent folks sleep on, and I'm telling you from experience to trust me and humble yourself trust me on this and humble yourself like I had to do. It goes a long way. Johnny Red, you psycho maniac, coming through the salon with $100 and no damn message. What a cocky son of a gun. Oh man, 100 bones, nothing there. No message saying now nothing. I respect it. You respect it. You gotta respect it. You don't got no choice. Shout out Johnny Red, coming through saying now nothing. Just dropping 100 bones and moving forward. Well, moving backwards, moonwalking, actually. Let me be accurate here. Shout out Mike Jackson. Uh-oh, let's not start trouble at the saloons as Blight Blazer. Yeah. So yeah, man, Johnny Red, you're cocky. Every time Johnny Red comes through, like I said, Johnny Red is a big baller. Big baller. Big baller. Big baller. Shout out. I'm not sure talent and business acumen come together. Extremely rare to have both, as well read. Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, and this is something that I've learned I learned early on with music. Most people can't balance both. Let's just be honest. And that's not a bad thing. Everything that happens pretty much in all creative industries is very collaborative, right? If you see some of the biggest stars and they had like Michael Jackson, everybody's talking about right now. And if you've seen this movie, you can kind of get into that. A lot of the people along the way that helped, right, to make something like that happen. It's very collaborative. Most creative people in my, and I'm not saying this as a, I might have to start playing some music here because we might have a shootout on the way in the saloon. Cause Brian, my man's Mr. Uncle Tony, with $100. He's a long time supporter, by the way. He's been here. He's been around the block. He's been around the block. He has been around the block. With also $100 and no message. So we had two cocky sons of guns walking through the saloon and not saying anything. And when you got, it's one thing to have one person walking through the saloon and being that, oh my God. Oh man, the things are getting crazy here. At the saloon. Brian Uncle Tony came through, dropped $100 and said nothing. And then Johnny Red comes back with $200. See, it's hard for me to try to maintain my professionalism when I got cocky. Johnny Red comes through with $500 and then he drops 20 gifted. Hey, a saloon double doors off the hinges. Johnny comes through after, what is that? 300 smacks on the poker table. Drops 20 gifted as well. So basically, after dropping that money on the poker table, he picked some random 20 people that was sitting there, standing there, another 10, that's 30. excuse me, let me correct the story. 30 people. 30 people. Random folks in the saloon that are all scared to death. Says, hey, you get a little something, you get a little something. Well, he didn't say anything. He's just handing the money to them. Now he's telling them what they have to spend it on, which is pretty cocky, by the way. Mr. Arcatona would have gifted $5 after $100, by the way. If you're watching this on Twitch, there's a war that is taking place in a saloon today. And it's happening on YouTube. Wow. I have to give a big shout out to him. Mr. Arcatonans as well, too cocky. Sons of Johnny Red, you psychomaniac. So Brian Arcatona with 105 gifted. And we have Johnny Red with, what is that, 300 plus 30 gifted? Jesus. Hey, I don't have control of this place. I'm sorry. To all the ladies and gentlemen that are around in the saloon, thought they were coming to have a good time, I'm sorry. To Johnny with another 10 is 40. That's 40 gifted. After 300 smacks, that's 45 new members this stream, by the way. Guys, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Unbelievable. Johnny is he's the cockiest son of a bitch in the West. Unbelievable. Johnny Red with $300, jokingly, and 40 gifted. And then Mr. Brian Arcatona with 5 gifted and $100. Unbelievable. Wow. Seriously, guys. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate Johnny. I appreciate Brian Arcatona. He's been here for a long time. He's an OG members here, man. Coming through, showing a lot of love at the saloon. Well, maybe the people at the saloon probably don't feel too good about it because they don't know what's going on. But I will say, I appreciate y'all because I ain't got nothing but respect for cocky son of. I'm just being honest with you. Unbelievable, this guy. Unbelievable. Then he says, congrats on the worldwide deal, sir. Could not have been done without people like you supporting us. I'm just being completely honest with you. You know, I separate my funding, though. Usually YouTube money that goes to Baby Rippa's diapers, books, and toys. That's what like the content creation money goes. So Baby Rippa, thanks all of you. Shout out. Seriously, y'all are awesome. But we could not have done it without y'all. When will we start? It'll be, well, officially everybody gets access to the books in July. So expect like the coming months after that to start seeing some work at the stores. Unbelievable y'all are. Y'all are crazy. Shout out Johnny, man. What a cocky son of a gun. Closed on a house. My family moves to Texas in 2. Let's go. No, I'm gonna tell you where this money's gonna go. Hold on. Pause the Western music. I'm gonna tell you where this money's gonna go. I gotta tell y'all a story. We had a pretty bad hailstorm. If you know North Texas gets some of the worst storms you can probably. We're in Tornado Alley, okay? So, bros, it's gonna go to my deductible because I gotta replace my roof and a couple of windows. No joke. I kid you not. It's like 6, almost 7 a.m. And I'm already up. I've been up for 3 hours. Hail starts coming down. I'm like, it is what it is. I don't think nothing of it because that's not abnormal, right? I'm in North Texas. And then it started coming like down like crazy. It felt like it was getting gunshots on the roof. And I'm like, all right, what is going on? And so I go out there. I got like this, my patio is covered. So I go outside. And it looked, I ain't never seen nothing like it. It was like almost apocalyptic looking. How massive the hail was, but how quickly it was raining. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And so I went and grabbed the wife, kid, and the dog. We have like a storm room. And we got everybody. We got in the storm room. And because I didn't know what the hell was going on. Bro, my roof was towed up. And not one, 2 windows broke. One went right through. The other, one right through. Thankfully, the one that went right through, it broke because I have like 2 pane kind of windows, right? And so it smashed through both of them. Even the tent, I don't know. Like, think about that. So there's a tent, like not tent, excuse me, a screen in the middle of it. Somehow it was that fast and that strong that it broke through both sides. On the other window, it only broke one side, obviously outside, so it didn't go all the way through. But I ended up boarding them both anyway. And I was like, what the fuck is... So I've been in Texas most of my life. Most of I was born and raised North Texas. But as far as like a hailstorm like that was the worst I'd ever seen, hands down. And I've been through some bad hailstorms my entire life. Again, it's North Texas, you're gonna get them every year. That was crazy. But my roof was jacked. Again, we get hail. It's not like abnormal. It happens. But at that level, it was nuts. I never seen anything like it. So yeah, now I got to pay to get some of my roof replaced. I got some gutters I got to fix. One of my like the compress on my AC unit, like put a hole through that bitch. So yeah, it's going about deductible. Shout out Johnny Red. That was not fun. But you know, family's sake, that's what matters. It's not like it blew my ass down or anything, but it was that was a crazy hailstorm, bro. He sent me a picture and the size of the hail was crazy. I had never seen, like I said, I've been to North Texas my entire life. I had never seen anything like that. Never have I seen anything like that. It was like the size, like it was obviously this like softball size. That was one thing, but it was the volume, the sheer volume was like, what the fuck? What is going on? I never seen anything like that. Larry with a 50. Wow. Says I thought about y'all with this weather. Still so glad to be here from the get go. Larry Park has been a long time supporter, man. Awesome dude. Bet you could barely, dude. It was like gunshots hitting the roof. It was crazy. Like it was enough for me to say, I don't know what the hell is happening. I don't know if Jesus is returning. I don't know what's going on out there. But I grabbed the obviously the family. We all went in the storm room because I was like, because I was outside and I went out there again. We got this patio, so I'm not like I'm not getting smacked in the head with this stuff. Like, and I'm like out there like, what is going on? Because I hadn't seen anything like that. And yeah, I went and grabbed the family. I said, all right, let's because they were asleep. So I was like, y'all got to get up, got the dogs, and put everybody in the storm room. It's crazy. Crazy, man. But again, Larry, I appreciate that 50. That's not cheap. That's not cheap at all. And appreciate you being here a long time. Again, big shout out, Johnny. Shout out, Uncle Tony. Both of you guys are insane. Sure about Ripper 6 and the Ripperworks animation. Now that we have this out the way, soon we do have some. Again, we got some stuff that we need to move around because we got to make sure that we maximize the store element, retail element. So we'll probably have an announcement soon about some dates that are getting shifted. I have an above ground tornado shelter in my house. It's nice to have to not go outside to get in the shelter. Yeah, it's awesome. That was one of the things that we had. And it was very important that we had that because again, North Texas. Jeremy with a 5 says, "Morning, Ripper. I'm wondering, are most Rippaverse customers still buying all or most books you release, or sticking to their favorite series characters?" Most Rippaverse cover, like you start about most, they pick their spots, and that was naturally going to happen. Like, if you think about any company, any big like comic book publisher that has multiple books, not everybody buys every book. That's never been the case. Just because someone likes one character doesn't mean they like another. So it was one thing to have just one book for people to buy, and it's another to have tens of we have I don't know how many titles now. So where we're with our single issues and series and books and everything, like people are more so most are everybody picks their spots. Um you have your diehards. You're always gonna have those. Kind of like I was to some of the big publishers where now I was spending several $100 every week going to buy comics every Wednesday. We have those for us, but for the most part, people are picking their spots. People are picking their spots. Jeremy with a 5 says, "Morning. I'm wondering, are most people are most." Oh, I just read that. My bad. Arthur with a 2 said, "Yar must have been fighting people from our world potentially. That was crazy." Yeah, switch to a pull list of reading the omnibus. As a reading the omnibus helpful, given the massive number of books now. I can't say a pull list doesn't expand every month though. Well, yeah, you're gonna hopefully the books are enjoyable to where obviously, yeah, we want you to buy as many series as you can. But we also understand that not everybody buys everything. And that was always gonna naturally happen. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, guys. Like again, diversifying our lineup was one of the best decisions that we made because it allowed us our customer base to grow, right? So you have like as an example, when Bloodruth came out, there was an entirely new audience that people that were in like the horror stuff that ended up adding, becoming customers of the Rippaverse. So two things happened when our volume increased. When I say volume, I'm talking specifically about the amount of books that we're putting out, like not like individual sales numbers. But once more people had more options, two things happened. You had the actual customer base grow, right? So the actual customer base grew, while also people started to gravitate. I don't know why my camera keep coming on and off like that. But the actual customer base was also picking their spots. They were saying, okay, I want to keep up with like the Isom related books. I want to keep up with Alpha Core, or I want to keep up. So we saw a lot more customers that were doing that, and that was something that I had always knew was going to happen as we grew. I mean, that's not a bad thing because you're still growing your readership. You're growing the amount of readers that you have. It's just that not every you don't have, like, you can only repeat that. I can't repeat that, right? When I had Isom 1 drop, that was the only book. So anybody that was mildly interested in the Rippaverse got that one book, right? See, that was the only thing you could buy. Those days are long gone, and they can't be replicated because we're putting out multiple books. Has anyone reached out that initially dismissed the Rippaverse? Oh, a billion times. But because of the announcement this week, they have reached out. Oh, well, but that's an interesting question. I should have finished probably. Um, I'll say this much. After yesterday's announcement, I have had people, to answer your question, yes, there has been people that have dismissed the Rippaverse. There's been both a positive to that and maybe one that's more, let's say, neutral. Let's not call it negative. The positive has been those that are. There's been some people that only lightly keep up with the Rippaverse. And since the news broke, they have reached out saying, "Oh wow, I didn't know that y'all were doing it like this." Guys, there are people that we just had a guy come through Twitch, for example. They only think I've put out Isom. Like they only loosely keep up with the Rippaverse. So yeah, they are there's been those. There's been, of course, those. There's been a lot of folks that have realized, I guess, now kind of the scale, and they've been saying their well wishes and things like that. I've also had people that have reached out that have had not so great things to say about us in the past. Let's just say that have reached out, which is interesting. Um, about like out of myself of the company, uh, and yeah, some of those are even creators themselves. Mike with a 5 says, "Oh, I just read that. Oh no, I didn't read that." Says, "Are we getting a book written by Mike Barron anytime soon?" Mike has a couple of stories coming through. Yes, that he's done. So can we please get a salvage cover by Bart Sears? Maybe for the next salvage installment for sure. Absolutely. I already have covers, but I'm down for that. I'm sure he's down for it too. Absolutely. What was what was I'm sure I'm thinking you mean why was Hachette the perfect partner for Rippaverse? Well, most importantly, as I've talked about, the most important thing is that they didn't. It was addition, not subtraction. That was the big thing. Is that Hachette, despite their size, was like, we just want the Rippaverse to continue doing what has made the Rippaverse awesome, and we just want to introduce it to a completely different market that you guys have just not been able to, because you can't tap in. You don't have the infrastructure to tap into. So they were perfect for us because they obviously have that infrastructure. It makes our books more easily accessible. It's a dream that now we have access to that. But most importantly, it wasn't even that we had to negotiate. It was more like, yeah, there's naturally going to always be negotiations with any deal that you an agreement that you enter into. But most importantly, what wasn't up for negotiation, because they didn't even try, was like the integrity of the company and how we did business. They didn't want to. They didn't want to, like, unless it was like to improve the business. It was always about, okay, you guys keep doing what you're doing. How do we now introduce this to a new market? That was it. It was never, well, we need to change this. We need to change. That was never the case. It was like the integrity, what you guys built works. Keep doing it. Now we want to bring it to a new channel. So that's what was so perfect about it. Perfect. Does RippaSend only books? I have a board card game only at Amazon. RippaSend can do whatever. We have the capabilities to do whatever. Why do you think some creators are so hesitant to support what you built? I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't care. I can't answer that question. People are free to support what they want to support. Um, I think that if there's any sort of like skepticism, I feel like if by now, despite existing and being able to deliver on what we do, and build this audience that we've built over the last 4 years, and if you're still hesitating, you're probably never going to support us. But that's the awesome thing about this, is that, like, and this is going to sound weird because I know some creators have ego about them, but I don't create for other creators. Like, and I don't advise anybody else. It's one of the things I talk about in the upcoming book. Creating, unless you're a teacher, creating for other creators is a surefire way to hinder your business, because creators don't think like customers. There are creators that are also customers, but it is a completely different mindset from someone that is enjoying this and this is their entertainment, and they have no desire to become like a writer or an artist or something like that. Um, that is completely different from the general, well, let's say this: the creator is different from the general customer. They are completely different audiences, completely different audiences. So ultimately, I don't answer to them. So it's like, if I can't even, it's hard for me to answer why I think that, because it's not something I'm ever really thinking about, because it's like, I'm not doing it for them. Right. Like, so whether they support what I do, like, what matters most importantly is, do the customers support what we do? Because that's who we're selling to. We're not selling to other creators. But it's not anything that I like really just sit there and dwell on, like whether or not we have creators that do support us, and they're awesome to us, they wish us well. I do all these cons and I meet all these other creators that have done nothing but say, hey man, rooting for you, and we appreciate those guys and gals. For the ones that are hesitant, like, I'm not here to even convince people. That's not why I do what I do for this company, because I'm creating for the customers, not for the creators. It's different audience for sure. And I don't advise, like, I don't advise, and I talk about this in the book specifically. I don't advise other creators focus so much on trying to impress their peers. That's a way to end up broke. That's for sure. But that's not. It's just not important. It's not unless you're a teacher. If you're a teacher, okay. But other than that, it's just not important. Like it's just not like the customers are important. Who are the ones that you are selling to? That matters more than whether or not someone that is also trying to do what you do, liking you or not, like or supports you or not. Like that shouldn't that's not something that I think any creator should be even dwelling on. If they love you, great, show love back. If they don't, it is not worth wasting a bunch of resources trying to impress them. It just doesn't matter. Like because this is the way I see myself as a creator, right? My individual opinion, and I'm I can understand this. My individual opinion on a given work is not the opinion. It never has been. And I say this even when I was a content creator. My individual opinion does not make or break what someone else, does. So, it doesn't matter. Jather with a two says, any recommendations for learn to write lessons media? If we're talking comics, Danny O'Neill has he did I think they've done other guides. His to me is the guide, but it's like DC's guide to writing comics. Somebody actually have it over there. Or it's in the other room, but it's a book where he goes through like he talks about just general script writing. He talks about the industry a little bit. The late Denny O'Neill, old Batman editor, and it's by DC. And for script writing, to me, that's by far the most useful work. Eisner has some work that he's done. Obviously, you have Stan Lee's How to Draw or Write Comics the Marvel Way, which is kind of different from like the script writing approach that Denny O'Neill had. Um, all those are decent resources, but to me, like just because of how I approach things, a lot that I took from it, Denny O'Neill's like how to DC. I think it's called DC's Guide to Writing Comics. I think is the official title. uh, Mark said, and my thing just froze there. Okay, Mark said a guy on Discord showed a pic of email saying his orders of the Curse and the Black Eye Club shipping is it real. I'm not in the warehouse, but I know all those are shipping. I told y'all this. All of those are shipping like now. A lot of those are shipping like right now. That's or not right now, but either now or soon. Alpha Core 2, The Cursed, Black Eye Club, and Detention Crew. Does Rippaverse website have a way to find out what books every character has appeared in? It does. It just hasn't been updated for a while, and that's one of our quality of life updates that we're doing right now. But we're working on. I have someone in a new position that's specifically tasked with that. When we start seeing books landing in the shops, it goes live. The whole entire like deal is active going into July, and or in July, and then so you expect the months after July for them to really appear. Yeah, Andrew confirmed. We're in the process of updating that as we speak. Yeah, there we go. And the solicitation today, not today. That no, not that. We have some books that are on the way, but it may not be until next week, till the next solicitation happens. What's today? Friday? Oh yeah, it's for sure not happening this week. I don't know why I thought like today was Thursday. I'm tripping. It's for sure not happening this week. Great War 3. Yeah, that's another one. Great War 3 too. That's part of it. So yes, Great War 3. The Black Eye Club, The Curse, Detention Crew, and Alpha Core 2. We already shipped Blood Roof. Alpha Core 2, all those are about to ship. Ripple live stream with morning coffee has been a win. Also, the Hachette deal sounds awesome. It is. It's a dream come true. It's a dream come true. Appreciate that 10. Absolute dream come true. Blessing. All thanks to the supporters. With the deal, can we get that hat also? Not quite. Not quite. That's a good one. Shout out. Who Ronin forever. I respect that. What do you enjoy about Dragon Ball Z? A lot. Everything. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. And I'm really excited for Xenoverse 3. Dan Vass, what's up? Good morning. Congratulations, man. Hey, shout out Dan. Dan Vass, fellow Norfolk brethren. Good to see him here. And someone asked, like, content, as far as the content changing. Someone specifically asked about this morning thing. First of all, I normally know the morning thing that I do, it would not be this long. I think it's a special occasion. I'm almost 2 hours in. But this is obviously the easiest thing for me to do of all types of content, because I can turn the stream on, stream for an hour, bounce to get back to work. With the deal, can we get the Eric sketch? Not quite. But yeah, like a lot of my videos, I'm just being honest with you, I don't know what that necessarily means for the Young Ripper 59 channel. But my other social media is gonna be really, really active. And but it's gonna be active like the original content that we created, because it's gonna be me talking about the Rippaverse. Any new McFarlane figures planned? We had a talk with McFarlane Toys about the Primeval stuff. That was earlier this year, or was it late last year? But earlier this year, we talked about a side project that was NDA. But we haven't green lit anything, but we got some stuff cooking. Conversations are being had. Let's just say that. I'm still waiting for the horseman figure. A lot of people have asked about a Primeval horseman just because of the accessories and all the cool things you can do. Thanks for not launching any pre-orders this week. The way my bank account is set up. I think we'll be back next week. But yeah, we don't have anything this week dropping. But it was more about the news. We wanted to really focus on the news. Have John, I appreciate that over on the Facebook side. It's a lot of work. It's awesome to see you still growing. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Wouldn't have it any other way. I'm working harder than I ever have in my life, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm just so thankful for you guys. I appreciate your support. I appreciate everybody that has over the years spread information about the Rippaverse, and as it's going, it's so helpful. He's more helpful than you knew. Telling your friends about it, that stuff went a long way. How do you go about your hiring process? Did most people come to you, or did you reach out to them? Well, if you're talking about employment, like contractors versus employment, it's two completely different things. But most of our employees have been here since day one, or were at least around. Most of our employees, like from Andrew, Carol, Brandon, out like these were day ones. So we naturally work together. I just happened to start a company and I brought them on. Some others that we've added along the way, it's a little bit of both, I guess. A little bit of both. Like there had trying to think of a lot of that stuff is just really, really organic. If you're talking about contractors like artists that I've worked with, a lot of that stuff is organic. Like it's like I'll meet them at a con or something like that, and we're like, "Hey, man, we should work together." So like it'd be something like that. But like as far as like day to day employees, like so many of our employees have been here. We don't have a whole lot of turnover. Like we don't. Like you think about it, like we've been here 4 years, and the only people that have like we've had a couple of obviously people that moved on to some other stuff, like Sheep did, still around. Obviously, Sheep is still here. Sheep did. Carol obviously recently. But aside from that, like like actual employees, not contractors, like employees, for the most part, it's just been people that we've brought here along the way, or they've been here since day one. So we had like expansion, obviously. So there was a position that wasn't available day one, and someone got brought on to fill it. But like as far as most of our people that are here, they've been here for Carol, Andrew, Alex, Brandon, Jordan. Like these people have been here since day one for the most part. Been working at my job for 30 years. Wow. Shout out. Psychomaniacs? Absolutely. Everybody got a little crazy to them, I guess, especially creative people. You love your job, why change? It's a good point. That's a great point. And that's one thing that I tried to do. Look, man, it's employment, it's a job. At the end of the day, you got to work. Um, you got to work. You got to work. And that doesn't mean that it has to be unenjoyable. Like everybody knows what that this task at hand is, something that you are having to do. There's always going to be tedious aspect, but um, yeah, you can enjoy what you do. Ain't nothing wrong with that, or get fulfillment out of it. Have you ever ran into a Horseman cosplayer? Not yet. I've ran into obviously Isom, Braxwell, Yaira's. We ran into Shadran at the last one that we were at, which was really cool. What else have I seen? I haven't seen a Horseman yet. I haven't seen a Horseman. Exclave Zero and Exclave One include an interstellar aspect. Having already introduced characters like Zaylin and Yaira, or will it be just Earthbound? It's a lot more grounded for a crossover. I'm not gonna spoil it all. Uh, Obviously, once the tie-ins start coming in, things will start making sense. We'll start putting those on for pre-order soon. Eric was like, "I built a team. Would you?" Basically, what happened? Fan Expo Dallas, I believe, will be there. Yo, that's a branding question. I just show up, but I don't see why we wouldn't. Appreciate what you did by switching to the solicitation model. Yeah, it's yeah, we had to. We absolutely had to. Shout out, man, dog. Thank you. But yeah, it's a lot fun stuff happening with Escalade. But yeah, it's Exclave isn't like, I don't want people to get the wrong idea. It's not like a crisis, right? Like it's not like this cataclysmic world event. It's not that type of stuff. Not those type of stakes. It's an event, but it's grounded and it crosses over. There's a lot of characters that are going to be impacted by it, but it's not like the world's gonna blow up if the nah, it's not that type of event. Like I told y'all, we're taking our time with this. I really want to be careful with where we go from the universe with this universe. I don't want to make those mistakes feeling like, oh, we have to outdo ourselves with each uh event. So we have to keep having them like over and over and over. I don't want to fall into that trap. Even with the sales being as awesome as they are, I don't want to fall into that trap. I do not want to fall into that trap. I just want to use it sparingly. I want the events to matter. I want you to be invested in it, but I do not want to be set up to where we feel like we absolutely have to, or we can't get any sort of entry. So Exclave is more centered around, obviously it deals with Isom story, post Isom 2, Isom 3 as well, but really the events you saw happen with him and Blood Ruth, and Gooding being involved. It's centered around those. It's really centered around those three. Are the main characters, with Isom obviously being kind of the leader there because it impacts him the most. But it's really centered around those three characters. I go to Dallas Expo for a day. Hey, let's do it. It'll be good to see you again, Crease. So that's clear. It's more blue. It's more like more Blue Beetle than Avengers Assemble in terms of scope and scale. It's. I mean, I'm sure I could think of if I thought hard enough, like an event that is comparable, but it's more. Yeah, it's not like this. Again, the world is going to blow up. Like it's going to fundamentally change things. It's important, but it's not like so cataclysmic. Brandon here is confirming we are shipping. What are we shipping on Monday? Brandon, we're talking about Alpha Core 2 or what are we shipping on Monday? Oh, Brandon says you respond. Yeah, fast forward, MFer. Go live. Will you ever do a fan art contest over character concepts? Have a few ideas, not the creative. Those get dangerous territory. When you start talking about original stuff, I don't want to be in a position to where we have to rely on those. So nah, not rely, but like get what I'm saying. Like from a legal standpoint, that can be dicey. Alpha Core 2. All right. So as confirmed right here, Alpha Core 2, Black Eye Club, and the Curse are all shipping on Monday. You heard it here. That's what Brandon, operations manager, confirmed that those three will be shipping on Monday. Looks like a team up rather than a super team for formation. It's a I wouldn't even look at it in those terms. I would look at it in like there's an event that has brought some important characters to the Rippaverse together, and event itself is going to impact other characters because they happen to be in the same area. Um, that's more of the way we are approaching it. It's really really grounded there. It's not like I say just a the stakes is high stakes even, but it's not like okay the world is over type of stuff. It's on like we don't want to get there yet. If we ever get there, like I don't want to feel like I have to do that because it's very hard to once you get to that point, it's very very difficult to do anything that matters again. Especially this early, guys. We're not even for well. in a couple of months will be 4 years old. So it's not a given that Horseman, Yaira, and Alpha Core team up with them, but they could be affected separately. Perhaps. I can tell you that the event itself, though the three characters, those are the three characters that are most involved are Isom, Bloodworth, and Gooding. That much I can tell you. As far as the heroes are concerned. You will see some others, obviously. And we're gonna have tie-ins. All the tie-ins that are gonna, it's gonna be a lot of them. Like I told you, our entire production schedule outside of our children's books, collections, omnibus, and so this is what you'll see. I mentioned this in the video, their Escalade video, or did I think maybe Gothics did. Arc Stream. So into October, once Escalade Zero pops off, Arc Stream, some Rippazines, some collected works, and children's books. Those four are the only things as far as the main. There may be an exception, but as far as the main series that will be dropping for the entirety of let's say November to basically May, June ish. So yeah, it's just gonna be Rippaverse stuff. Like excuse me, Escalade stuff. The tie-ins all be Escalade related, all that stuff. Don't forget your second chance to get the omnibus years 1 through 3 on Rippaworks now. That is correct. It's a great time to get caught up now that we're about to really, really ratchet things up with the shit. Can't wait for the blows. I wasn't even aware of that. I wasn't aware of that at all. Also, Gabriel and the Guardians on RippaSend as soon as I get your copy. Yeah. I'm gonna talk with the team about that. I'll talk with the Guardians team as well. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff with Gabriel on the Rippa on like the Hachette side of things. Does the Rippaverse story have a planned definitive ending, or will you keep the universe alive afterward with more stories as long as folks keep buying? It's an entire universe. So while yes, a series may end, an individual character story may end, I don't see the universe. As long as customers are buying, I don't see the universe ending. No, I created this company to be a large shared universe, that wing of it, like the main Rippaverse publishing line. So while yes, there's going to be stories and graphic novels that have these definitive endings, characters may have their definitive endings. As far as the universe itself, as long as people want to keep buying it, I'm going to keep putting it out. So yeah, I imagine there'll be an occasional non-exclave title here and there. Well, like I said, it'll be Arc Stream, Rippazines, children's books, some like collective works and stuff like that. But like it's when I say it's an event, I want it. It's a you. Let's say this: we're approaching it uniquely. It is not. Don't go to it expecting the same thing that you've expected from other like events. Like we're not just gonna have a thing and we're slapping a sticker on it like this says Escalade. No. Like our entire mainline universe is centered around this event, and it's going to be happening over the course of like 6-7 months. Correct, fellowship culture. You guys are going to want to get those cards, man. But yeah, I will let people know on like what we're gonna be doing with like some of these releases, because we do need to push some of these. We need to maximize them being in stores. With the deal. So Alpha Core obviously is the main one. Alpha Core needs to get shifted, but that's fine because Alpha Core 2 is you're gonna be held over by Alpha Core 2. And some of these others just a little bit. The later ones, no. But some of these early ones, we need to maximize that rollout. With this recent announcement helping you expand, do you think a Rippaverse, this comes from Garfield Bizarre Adventure, by the way, do you think the Rippaverse game or a Rippaverse game or fully animated production is more likely now? Yes, 100%. There's a lot of opportunities that's coming from this. Some I can not talk about, but there's a lot of cool opportunities that are going to be opening up specifically because of this deal. Lots of cool stuff happening, like lots. When I say lots, like this is the front end. This is like the foundational piece because it makes our books easily accessible. But from that, it's a lot of other cool stuff happening, like a lot. Is the back catalog, great question, going to be a part of the distribution deal? Yes, they're going to have access to the back catalog as well. It's just different. Back catalog, front catalog stuff are two different things, though. So it's not going to be as prominent or present, but yes. If we have hero status titles that get a delayed release, will you extend it? Oh, 100%. We'll extend everything. We'll extend everything. I'll talk to the team about how that looks as well. Like, because some of that stuff is like we still have our quantities and stuff that we have to worry about, but as far as like consolidation, that's not a problem. Absolutely, we'll be able to extend all those. Got something on the Twitch side. What's up? Appreciate that, John Doe. I just got an important email. Okay, I gotta go. I just got a shit email. I got something I need to attend to. We got a meeting actually here soon. Talk about some release stuff. Really excited. I gotta bounce. Thank you guys so much. I wanted to touch base with you about the deal and stuff. I'll probably leave this stream up so people can go to it like for information and everything. But thank you all so much for the love and support. You guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. You guys are incredible. I appreciate you so much. I need to get back to work. I also got to figure out what the food situation is going to be for the family. So, because I know they're about to wake up. So thank you all so much. You guys are amazing. I'll leave the stream live. I usually don't do this, but I think this was a special occasion. I'm gonna leave the stream live. It won't go to members only. So if you want to watch the rest of it, you'll be able to keep watching it. Thank you all. I appreciate all the love that every single one of you supports. Big shout out to Johnny Red coming through, Brian Uncatona coming through, dropping some big smacks for the hail damage fund and the baby ripper diaper fund. Thank you all. But I gotta bounce. Till next time, y'all be easy. I'll be putting out some fun videos over the weekend and stuff. Be on the lookout for those. So, all right, guys. Peace out. And